Yes, it's me, the Robozoid, your semi-likable and occasionally tolerable curmudgeon of the Rumble and YouTube airwaves, feeling no tolerance and absolutely no like for Abby Phillip, or should we just call her Shabby Phillip, based on her shabby reporting, her shabby yellow journalism that honestly makes you wonder why she's even on CNN or any cable outlet at all, for that matter. I mean, she is Shabby Phillips because she is a shabby journalist, and she's not a real journalist at all. The lady that confronted her on the last video that you saw, that was a journalist in the form of someone who writes at the New York Post. And well, she basically had to backtrack or retract her shabby reporting the other day, of course, and issued an apology for her shabby reporting. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, but this is going to be a rather long one, and we have a lot of clips to play and a lot to cover, so let's get right into it.
This morning I issued a correction first thing in the morning on X for a mistake that I made in last night's show, but I also wanted to do so on air as well. I incorrectly said that the bombs that were thrown by ISIS-inspired suspects in New York over the weekend were directed at Mayor Mamdani. They were not. I failed to catch and correct that mistake in real time, and I take full responsibility for that. And while we do make mistakes, it is important to acknowledge and correct those errors when they happen.
And there was a report in the New York Times, and they interviewed an engineer from Tehran, and what he said was interesting. He said that a lot of people in Tehran, in Iran, actually don't necessarily want the bombs to stop dropping, because if the bombs stop dropping, it means that the Iranian regime currently in place is still in place. And for them, they said, we are thought of as human shields for the Iranian regime. So we want this regime gone. So I actually think, of course, bombings are horrible, especially when they accidentally kill young girls. That is absolutely tragic and awful. But I do think the Iranian people see this as a risk calculation and are saying, look, if the choice is to live under the current Iranian regime, at least according to this guy in the New York Times.
Yes, one guy in the New York Times. In that same story, there were other people who were opposed to the regime.
What kind of shampoo does she use?
But now feel pressure, basically are supporting the regime against the United States.
If they're supporting suicidal, right?
I think trying to get a sense of where Iranians are.
You said that you are confident that the world is better after the death of Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, but his son.
Khamenei? What is he, a bowl of grits?
Their leadership.
Well, his son is now in charge, and he's considered even more of a hardliner.
Well, they should kill him too.
Oh, well, maybe they will. But in the meantime, he's been elected by their 88 clerics to be the guy in charge. It's hard to see how we're better off with him in charge. And did you expect the Iranian people to rise up, as I think President Trump expected, and encourage them to do?
Well, there's also a fact that he hasn't been able to produce a video or scene in public at all. Why? Maybe they're seriously injured. It could be very hard to just sit down and even do a video and have them put that out.
Okay, so that was John Fetterman being confronted by one of CNN's top stooges, basically asking, do you think it was a mistake to go into Iran and to go to war with Iran? Well, first of all, we were not at war with Iran. The truth was, they pretty much had to deal with a mad despot for 47 years, and we took him out, or Trump took him out, rightfully so, with just one or two airstrikes. True, we lost 4 men in the process, but she was trying to corner him about a schoolgirl, a private school for girls that was taken out as well. I don't think school was in session at the time, because there is no body count, and we never really see the bodies at all. So, honestly, we have to wonder, and we have to ask ourselves, is that whole private school thing for real, or is this just another hoax made up by the lamestream media and the Crescent News Network? I mean, Shabby Phillip's apology, of course, Shabby Phillip's apology, of course, was obviously a forced, weak, half-hearted apology. I mean, when these people are made to apologize for a screw-up they made, they don't genuinely mean it. I mean, let's face it, Shabby Phillip, of course, she is scripted because she's always reading off a teleprompter. So you have to wonder if anything she's saying is real, is genuinely from the heart, or if it's just something she was told to say from her bosses.
And I want to start with the deadly strike on a girls' school in Iran here, and that is two sources are telling us that the preliminary findings of a U.S. military investigation, which is still ongoing, say that the U.S. is to blame, likely due to using outdated information about a nearby naval base when they did their targeting. How troubling is this when just the very basics of it, the use of outdated information for the targeting?
Well, it is incredibly troubling to me, and it should be to all of us, because it shows the lack of coordination and prior
The left
planning
will
and how
find a
rushed
way
this
to use
process
this
was,
against Trump.
Conducted by
You know
the Trump
they will.
administration. Frankly, I want to know who actually cleared the targeting of an area right next to the girls' school or the girls' school itself. Why was there not better coordination? And Pete Hegseth recently called silly rules of engagement silly. Well, you know what? The rules of engagement are there for a reason. But I think this
The rules of engagement are silly. Hegseth is right.
And I would really want to know who is actually going through the target protocols and who's clearing these targets for attack.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
There's only one rule in war, and that is kill the enemy before they kill you. So fuck the rules of engagement. Take your rules of engagement and shove it, lady, because Hegseth was absolutely right. And of course, you're going to have CNN doing what they do best, like they just did in that other clip there, and that is blame the U.S. for basically accidentally dropping a bomb on a private girls' school. Yeah, there's a reason why it's called an accident. Hey, we accidentally dropped a bomb on the French embassy a long, long time ago. And you know what? Whether they forgave us or not, who cares? There's no France anymore. But obviously, you're going to have the morons that continue to go on and on and on and not shut up about the whole ordeal. I mean, that's why you're going to have this next clip here of some imbecilic, stupid Democrat operative. Excuse me, I'm just pretty much got a bubble in my throat here at this point. Some idiotic opportunist, a Democrat, that is just basically chastising, shouting down Marco Rubio, won't let him get a word in edgewise, and this is exactly how things went down. Just take a look.
Danger to the United States. Anyone who believes that gangs that flood our country with fentanyl or cocaine are not threats to the United States is not living in reality and certainly does not reflect the opinion of most Americans.
The president already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela again. So we're internment law.
No, but we're talking about two separate
Where'd
things.
she get
so
that
you're talking
bullshit?
about the state of Venezuela or are describing the regime. And we're talking about but what the president.
Shut up and let Rubio finish.
I know, Senator, but let me be clear with you. No, but what the president was talking about are these gangs that have, and these narco trafficking groups that are waging war on the United States. There's no doubt. These groups have waged war on the United States. They have waged, for example, Train de Agua is not just a criminal gang presence in our street. It is a criminal gang directly responsible for narco trafficking.
Tell Pug Fugly to shut up and let Marco Rubio finish.
Deported to torture under this law had no criminal records whatsoever.
We didn't torture
Independent, over 75%.
Who did we torture? We haven't tortured anybody. We've arrested people that are members of gangs and we've deported them. We don't want gang members in our country.
Have found that many of the men were here legally. If the administration is willing to lie
Liar.
it's targeting under this law,
Liar.
what protections do totally innocent people have against abuse? Again, I want to
Lying
ask
Fugly.
will you advise the president to rescind his invocation of the wartime alien and
No, of course not.
Lying
These
Pug
are people that are
Fugly.
threats to the national security of the United States. But I've described this in hearings in the past, including
So you're saying that we're at war?
We are absolutely, when it comes to narco trafficking groups and criminal gangs that are targeting the United States for criminal
We're in a state of war.
There's no doubt about the fact that we're confronting them in a warlike setting.
We're not in a state of war. What is this Pug Fugly disgusting whore talking about?
Is that we are confronting these irregular groups, and that's one of the great challenges of the new century in this hemisphere in particular, is that these non-state actors who possess state-like capabilities in terms of their weaponry pose a grave danger to the United States. I don't think any American would dispute that we have cartels that pose a threat to the national security of the United States.
Other laws of when it comes to warfare. I mean, you're saying that he can invoke this wartime power.
No, I'm saying, you're asking me, I'm here to discuss foreign policy and what's in the realm of the Department of State.
Well,
I think your question is better directed at the Department of Justice.
Enemies Act,
but I would tell you
which is
that
a wartime, which is something that
but you're asking me a
court
question
said
that's,
can be invoked during
right,
wartime.
but you're asking me a question.
She has to shut up and let him finish.
And World War II.
You're
It's
asking
been
me a
invoked 3
question.
times, and this president is invoking it.
Okay, you're asking me a question about the domestic application of a law that's best directed
It's not
to the
a
Department of
complication.
Justice.
Go back and make
No,
rice.
Because you're asking me something to opine on something that's in the realm of the Department of Justice in terms of its domestic application. I can tell you that the United States is most certainly confronting terrorist and criminal organizations operating in our hemisphere that pose a grave danger to the United States. Anyone who believes that gangs that flood our country with fentanyl or cocaine are not threats to the United States is not living in reality and certainly does not reflect the opinion of most Americans.
The president already said that he was ready to put American troops.
Look at it this way. Everything that the Democrats do, they leave death behind them. That's what they do. I mean, they do it all the time. They are the party of death. They worship death. They love death. They can't stand life. Why do you think they're the types that champion abortion but don't want children born? They don't want the children born at all. No babies to be born. But we have no problem just aborting little Johnny inside the womb, do we? Because they worship death. They are the cult of death. That's what they are. And, of course, for this creature to basically keep questioning Marco Rubio and not letting him get a word in edgewise is pretty much criminal. I mean, he's supposed to be there to offer testimony, and this imbecile will not shut her gob for 1 second. I mean, this is what I mean. Democrats leave a trail of death behind them all the time. You know, let's think about this. When Wesley Clark, under the command of Bill Clinton, bombed every bridge along the Danube River, and basically trying to bomb out Kosovo and Serbia, and pretty much destroyed every bridge along the Danube River, destroyed an aspirin factory. No pictures of it, no footage, none whatsoever, because they needed to gin up a fake war in order to drive Monica Lewinsky off the headlines. And also, of course, you know, you had Obama with what he did with, obviously, let us say, Syria and Ethiopia. Thousands of our soldiers dead, and plenty of their people dead as well. And, of course, Biden, I don't even want to get into the horrors of what Biden did. But these people are the cult of death. So stop telling me that you actually make a pretext of caring about the lives of little schoolgirls in Iran, when the truth is you really don't. Excuse me, my allergies and the fact that I just ate. But, you know, don't tell me that you care about these little girls' lives when we know you don't care about any life. No life is precious to you people on the left. None. That's why you're champions of abortion. You know, I don't want to hear any more from Shabby Phillip. I don't want to hear any more from this Broomhilda, this sort of geisha Broomhilda that was chastising Marco Rubio. And I certainly don't want to hear anything from any of the other journalists on CNN who don't know shit about what we were doing in Iran. You know, it's not exactly mission accomplished, of course, because, well, obviously you're going to have Khomeini's son now take the whole thing over. So what makes anyone think he's going to be any better or any different than his father was? There's no reason to think that at all. And that's why you launch these airstrikes in Iran. And these people have to understand. They have to be made to understand. We did not go to war with Iran. It was a simple airstrike. War should always be a last option for America. That it should be a last option. It's basically just a weapon of last resort. It's not the first resort, like some of the neocons would have you believe. But war should always be a last option. And that's the whole point of this. In spite of what the Democrats tell you, we did not yet go to war with Iran. And let's hope we don't have to. This has been the Robozoid saying, I'm sorry we ran long, but that's just the way things are, you know, sometimes. And I'm sorry about my allergies. The weather just keeps jumping up and down like a yo-yo here. So until then, remember to smash the like button, subscribe to my channels on both YouTube and Rumble, and what else should I say? Yeah, of course, wokeness is weakness. And one other thing, don't forget this for 1 second, that the libs will always be and always have been the cult of death. They are not the party of life. They represent death.